we're casting a Challenger match, and I don't know what week they're in. I don't even know if they have weeks in Challenger.
Cast is already so far off the rails.
They don't even have any concept of time. Challenger exists in all times and states simultaneously.
Yes. Well, I saw on the schedule that Verdruss had like 2 matches within the same week.
Yeah,
so
it's a bit of a free for all. And that's actually one of the fun things about it is that when people join late like that, they can just play a bunch of matches really, really quick because that's what they want to do, right? That's what they're all interested in when they first get the game. So the schedule or lack thereof accommodates for that.
Anyhow, that is, I believe, what we're going to start with here. I'm not going to try to say the whole first name there. I'm going to just say Malo, and then we got Verdruss. 2 shiny new players here, ready to play some awesome SpyParty.
It's going to be good.
Baby's first SpyParty.
And you'll see from these picks, it will, in fact, be very good.
Oh, do they not know the meta? Do they not know what they're quote unquote supposed to pick and ban?
Oh, they know exactly what they're supposed to pick.
They learn something.
I mean, they don't know about banning quite.
Okay.
They seem to have banned Aquarium and Tangan, so that's a mistake.
That's on us as the community parents. That's our fault, not yours, Kletos.
Yeah, veranda and pub restricted. No problems with that. But yeah, this doubled redwoods. Big fan.
Oh my.
Unfortunately, courtyard was only singled there, but library doubled instead. I don't mind that at all. Library, very good venue, very popular doubled venue. I mean, it's just a popular venue all around.
And also terrace.
Yeah, terrace is just sort of there. So, there are apparently people that like terrace.
I don't have this in front of me. I'm going to have to check after the cast to see if anyone has doubled redwoods and singled terrace yet in SCL. I'm not sure. That's definitely not a combination we see often. Let's put it that way.
No. Yep. Anyhow, I guess we'll just get right into this here.
Oh boy.
Getting some good old tree action going on here.
Welcome to the venue where you can't actually see anything if you're the sniper because there's trees in the way. Malo is going to start things off being able to see. Verdruss cannot. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
There are a lot of them, aren't there?
There's so many trees.
I mean, I would say, could there just be 2 or 3 fewer? But I know if we got that, I'd say it again. I just keep saying it until it was just a lovely house in the woods.
Except Checker would just keep adding trees each time you said that.
Yeah, every time I asked. There's just more trees now.
34% on the first flirt. We actually got here first, so selection target stepped in next to us for the flirt and then bailed afterwards.
If only we were on a venue or in a division where people were flirt pairing and could actually get it wrong. No, unfortunately, very little benefit to that.
Well, it's a free flirt. May as well take that.
Indeed.
Malo steps out to the window after the fact. Apparently Verdruss has found an angle where he's more or less comfortable. He's just sort of hanging out, moving a little bit more now as we pick up our second flirt. This one a green test for 85%.
Yeah, it's interesting to see where snipers settle. I myself tend to veer to the right a little bit, but a lot of people like kind of that middle angle there. But you're right, Verdruss, staying far away from the far left and far right, staying towards the middle of the venue on the sniper side pretty much the whole time.
Into the first statue we go. It's one of the singles on the outside, so that'll be 1 inspect in the books. Looks like we're heading out to the... No, it's going to be the blue bookcase, our next stop.
Very interesting. Still a couple of minutes left, and again, it's a high mission density kind of a venue, but there's a fingerprint here.
There is indeed a print there, and another one at the bar which is available, so that could be pretty big if Malo goes for it. Indeed, Malo does go for it as well. Nope. No, it's going to be the briefcase instead.
Yeah, a little more noticeable, but you are obligated to take it, and boy, hey, challenger player who knows that, I think.
That is true. And now we go into the bar for our third print.
Okay, I don't know about that. It's entirely possible they don't know the print is at the bar, which would explain both decisions.
But the okay.
You guys are kind of way ahead of me for whatever, or way behind me for whatever reason.
Oh, that's weird. I wonder how that happened.
Weird. I don't know.
Well,
we're as slow as the spy's pacing right now,
Yeah.
which actually isn't too bad. It isn't too bad.
there's the next flirt getting done. Here's the contact coming off as well. There's the mission win pending.
Let's pause it and figure out a good spot to be at.
All right. How about 46? Because that's when all the cool stuff happens.
Okay, so 46 remaining.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
Wait, hold on. Let me get there.
Yep. Because that's a contact and a delegate, boom, boom, and it looks like they're not going to try to finish inspects. That's going to be mission win pending at 46.
Yeah, lots of stuff just went down real quick.
Yeah, let me find my way there.
But yeah, it's interesting. As you said, potentially another fingerprint there that you can't actually take. But I wonder if they knew it was there, because the bar seems like a more innocuous place to get it, even if they know they're obligated to take the briefcase.
But the briefcase was at the bar, though, and there was no one else at the bar.
Yeah, but I think the ambo wasn't near it, so I think they had to pick it up if they decided to go to bar. Now, granted, challenger match, do they know that, right? Does either player know that? The odds that both the spy and the sniper know that is a little, But you're right, a third print not going to help your case.
Well, I have are you looking at Verdruss as spy?
No.
Okay, but
I'm
just convinced because I'm looking at the right game.
It's Mallow as spy as leopard print.
Yeah, okay. I'm just trying to figure out what the heck is going on because at 46 seconds, they're in a conversation.
Don't worry, we see this a lot. Just blame it on action priorities. It's fine.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'm at. I hope there wasn't a time ad that I didn't see, but I'm at 48 seconds or so. I'm very confused. Anyhow, I'm ready to go.
Okay.
It looks right to me. So 48 seconds.
Yep.
In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
We call this the caster's time ad.
So we got the flirt, we got the contact, we got the delegate back to back to back. And we got a bug attempt.
Why though? Why though, Tobo? Why was the bug tried?
I don't know why the bug was tried, but there's the purloin coming off.
And I don't think it's seen. I don't
think so either. Maybe the bug was attempted to try to distract because he thought it would be less easy to see than the purloin was.
I guess so, maybe a little impulsive, but I don't see that the purloin was being guarded that closely at the end. Now, sometimes you don't need to zoom in on it. Better snipers, intermediate even and up, know what it looks like when Toby takes that list back based on the movement of the arrow over his head, by the way. That's how people can react to a purloin without actually seeing if the list is gone. But in this case, I didn't see any indication of that either, and it would be a pretty advanced thing to know for a sniper at this level. So in this case, I think the purloin probably not noticed at all.
Yeah. Nor was the bug.
Nor was the bug, or maybe any of the 3 fingerprints. Hard to say.
All right, well, in we go again. This time we do indeed have Verdruss on the spy side, Mallow on the sniper, with some trees to contend with. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And Mallow prioritizing the cast lights, zooming in a lot, actually, zooming in and out very, very quickly.
And Verdruss is just sort of hanging out front. Has been flanked by a couple of suited gentlemen.
This is fascinating. They're spending most of their time, the sniper is, kind of zoomed in, not tending
to... The wrong arm bug on the way through! Mallow was zoomed in on the list, completely invisible.
Yeah, very, very good, and probably behind the tree anyway, regardless of the zoom. But the zoom is just such an interesting choice. We never see this. I wonder if they're saying, you know what, there's so much occlusion anyway. If I'm going to sell out, let's really sell out on each thing I'm looking at a time. I'm not going to try to catch something out of the corner of my eye because that might get blocked anyway. I don't know if it's smart or not, but it's interesting and it's very different than what we're used to seeing.
I mean, let's be honest. I think most things on this map are hidden by a tree.
Right, yeah. So they're thinking, am I really losing that much by selling out on the zoom? Maybe not. Maybe not at this level. Maybe in 1,000 games, the trade-off will be different. I don't know, but it's not something we've seen before.
34% off of the flirt at bar, picking up a delegate on our way out as well. And into the front conversation we go once more. It's filled up a little bit since last we were here. Under 2 minutes to play now. Having that bug already, though, is going to be big moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Still gonna have to finish though. Still ways to go. Mallow right now selling out on both the bug and the purloin because they're both visible within one zoom, which is very lucky. But the fact that they're paying a lot of attention to purloin like that makes me think they might not know that little trick I mentioned about the triangle just yet as well.
Into the blue bookcase we go for that print. So 1 fingerprint in the books.
No pun intended.
Actually, that one sort of was intended.
I admire that you can admit it. I try to pretend mine are totally off the cuff and unintentional.
Into... No, actually couldn't find a good spot in conversation, so bails to the windows. A pretty nice redirect as well. Looked pretty natural, but under a minute to play and very little progress at this time. We were stepping in towards the ambassador and the briefcase, picking up a second flirt while we're there, a green test up to 79%. If we grab this briefcase right now, that'll be our second print. We do not grab... Oh, we are going to grab the briefcase.
The spies now have 5 prints between them over 2 games.
So that's the print done and the bug done and most of a flirt, but with 25 seconds left to play, we're going to need this contact and we're going to need to finish the flirt. Can't find a way into conversation. Finally finds a spot. Here comes the contact. It's 13 seconds left to play. It's going to be overtime if we're able to get this done. He's not going to finish the flirt. He's going to swap the statue. 3 seconds when the swap comes off. It's a white test. Here we go. The shot comes off. And it's not the correct one. Verdruss answers back.
I mentioned earlier that Mallow was zoomed in on the guest list or the AMBA, and I couldn't tell which because they were both close to each other. They were able to line up both of them in one zoom shot. That's exactly what happened here at the end as the AMBA went to bar, and Mallow says, if they're going to rush something late, it's going to be the bug or the purloin, and I'm just going to stare these down. And when OT hit, they just hit someone who happened to be in their scope talking. That was reason enough, but they were sold out on those 2 things. But we know, of course, that bug had already happened. At no point was the spy seen even leaving the conversation or approaching the statue, let alone swapping it.
Yeah, no kidding. That was a strong finish, completely away from any and all suspicion. It's 1-1 as Mallow steps into spy side for Verdruss on the sniper once more in 3, 2, 1, playing it. The bug in the time of chaos. You love to see it.
And it was really clean. That was just good. That would be good for any player, let alone a new player to the competitive scene. Unless guarded explicitly and perfectly early in the game, that's just going to be free.
And 51% on the flirt immediately after 2. This is a hell of a start for Mallow.
And they are not letting up either. They are going nuts here. Or windows here. And I really thought they were going to go right into the contact and just turn this into a full-on rush.
Yeah, me too. Not happening this time. Just stepping away to reduce that cooldown a little bit quicker. We're back in there, and we get the 2 flirt. Seduce done.
Bug. That is disgusting. Instant bug into an aggressive 2 flirt. That is so sick. That's good at any level. It's tremendous at this level. And now we've got 2.5 minutes to do 2 missions on Redwoods.
That's huge. That's an incredible start from Mallow to this game. Into the briefcase we go next to pick up a print. Do we chase? We do. Print goes down. Briefcase goes down. And back around into conversation we go.
And spies are just getting away with these fingerprints all over the place. As far as I can see, none of them, not even one, has been specifically noted or reacted to in a visible sense by the sniper's movement.
We've got a print available on the blue bookcase now. What's Mallow's last mission going to be, though?
Well, they've got a ton of options. Contact is obviously the simplest and the safest. But as we saw from the last game, sometimes the atypical thing can work just as well.
Contact absolutely still available. Mallow stepping into an empty conversation. Blue bookcase very much available. That's exactly where Mallow is headed. This is going to finish up the print. Still 1 minute and 15 seconds left to play. 3 missions done. All we need is that contact, and it's not a bad time for it. Takes the book out too. Doesn't even need to bother putting it away.
Yeah, we can contact or we can dump it. By the way, did break idle leaving that conversation with their arms crossed, which is a more noticeable break than usual. I actually lost a game to Falcon Hit for that exact idle.
Oh my god! The contact comes off, but so does the shot. Verdruss, this time, is on top of it.
So here's the question. If this were a high-level game, we would assume that the bug was suspected or the prints were caught or something like that, right? Because it's not, we have to ask ourselves, what could this be? It could be many different things. It could be something as simple, and this makes sense, particularly at lower levels, to just bank on a talker during a BB in a full conversation. Someone who joins late like that, that's actually pretty suspicious when you think about it. At high levels, greens are common enough that, that you don't want to necessarily risk that, especially on redwoods. But at a lot of levels, it still makes a lot of sense. And if anything, I would say top players should do that more often than they currently do, is prioritize BB talkers. So it might just be something as simple as that. And it might have been that dumping the books and playing a silent game would have been better.
It's true. He got in there pretty quick and talked pretty quick as well. Not a lot of waiting there to try to throw off the scent. That might have been enough, but it's hard to say for sure as Verdruss steps back into the spy side. Mallow on the sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, we have our first sniper win, but it was in mission win countdown, and they didn't seem to be on the spy much before then. That was such a good start, though, from Mallow in the beginning of that game. Got to be heartbreaking because I think they felt like they were in control that whole time.
And they were, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Mallow played a fantastic game. It just didn't quite work out near the end of it. Into bar goes Verdruss to start things off, and right on camera, that little twitch in to the pad is not looking pretty.
No, not looking great, but also not necessarily something you can look at either. Pretty easy to miss.
I mean, he was in the middle of being highlit while it happened.
Yeah, that's like very unfortunate timing, but stutter step, like, what do these players think is normal AI behavior, right? It's something we don't know. They're probably better than your average people new to the game, but AIs do stop out of various pads, and maybe they think it's plausible.
Picking up a drink and a delegate and stepping away towards the flirt at the front conversation here. No progress from Verdruss as of yet, but does indeed have options. Unfortunately, seduction target bails, so we're not able to make that happen. Look how full this conversation is. Good gravy.
Yeah, decent time for a fake, frankly. What I find interesting is that Mallow, again, is focusing on this corridor on the left, the one where you could see that conversation across from the bar and the bar itself. That is where they're spending almost all their time zoomed in. Verdruss was doing it a bit too, but combined, they've decided that that is the best spot.
There's a delegate going off, but it's not going to be in time. The timer has expired, I think, before she even made it to bar.
Yeah, slow character, cast member too, and Mallow is zooming in on every listing.
The wrong arm bug coming across. It was exactly the same move as it was before. As soon as that sniper swings over to look at the bar, that lane is completely blocked.
Yeah, that's a big part of it, but not just that. Mallow hung around and looked at the bar for a long time after Buns took the list. I think they're waiting to actually get a clear look at the bar itself to see if the list is still there.
Went for the animation microfilm transfer and took a bullet for it. We had 2 spy wins followed up by 2 sniper wins. That's going to leave us at 2-2 coming out of the first venue.
Yeah, that's really good. And I think if you're looking at the replays here, and I'm not sure how much they are between them, but certainly after this game, you must see this corridor on the left is where they're spending all their time, which means that most of the time, Blue Bookshelf is particularly vulnerable as well. Everything else, though, has been close to free. And I think if you could study these games in advance and then decide how to play them, you wouldn't do anything on that far side of the venue.
Absolutely. Into the library we go next. Mallow on the spy to open up the festivities. Verdruss on the sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And that's something you'll see from new players is they'll sell out on certain things. They have little weaknesses that, will come to be exploited in time, or they'll have to, or they'll have to change them. But at this level, sometimes you can afford to lean into certain things, bank on certain things, and your opponent doesn't always punish you for it.
Malo fighting his way into the first flirt there at the window for 34%. Hangs around the outside a little bit until the cooldown happens, and then goes in for the next one, but the seduction target bails before it can happen.
Malo was aggressive about those flirts that other time, too, and they're going to be here, too, and they're going to break idle again like they did before to get the flirt.
Goes around the long way, so isn't suspected of any bug shenanigans. I would have just taken the bug personally, but also I'm not very good at this game. There's the second flirt coming off, 85% after that. And away goes Malo once more, this time to statues. This man does not slow down.
What I really want to see here, because they're a newer player, is can they hit the greens and get the inspects done in 2 cycles? It's a gimme at higher levels usually, but not here. And there's 2 greens to start, so they're going to be just fine.
Yeah, that's always nice to see. Getting the inspects done with plenty of time.
But that's a big distinction. Most of the time we don't really remark on that unless they miss it. In this case, though, at this level, it's not an automatic thing. It's actually a big moment of tension and truth, whether or not they can finish in 2 cycles.
Flirt is done, and pretty good lineup for the bug on the way out of conversation as well. If he wants to take this, he does wants to take this. It's not the prettiest path, but Verdruss was all the way on the other side of the venue. There was no way he was going to see that.
We say this all the time on Library. The best Library bug is the one that's not even on screen because it doesn't matter what it looks like, and that was the case here. Just good, solid timing, maybe good luck, maybe a little bit of both. Either way, 3 missions done, 3 minutes left.
It's looking pretty good for Malo so far. This highlight is probably just a rote statue highlight too, so it's very difficult to tell how much suspicion is on Malo, but he's played a pretty good game to this point, even if there is a very large amount of unnecessary movement.
There's always a bit of a risk when statue highlights like this come out, especially on a big venue like Library with a lot of highlights, a lot of statue visitors, because the sniper is going to have trouble remembering who just went to statues and who's actually done with inspects. That's going to be particularly true for a newer sniper, though. The odds that they know which ones are actually done with inspects and which have just been to statues at least once, very small.
Into bookcase we go. I'm starting to get a little bit worried that Verdruss might be onto something here because of the way the laser's moving. So yellow book in hand, we still have contact available as well. And the double agent joins up conversation with us. That could be huge. A green contact coming off. I think that might have been enough to get Malo the win on this. It's all about how much Verdruss is able to track this book. Although Malo is putting it back at yellow. Maybe he was feeling a little bit of heat as well.
Yeah, maybe reacting to the last game, saying, that aggression is what got me killed. Although I would think if they didn't want to be aggressive, what they would do is hang on to that book for a solid minute and then dump it.
What's that last mission going to be then? Because we've got 1:15 to play, no progress on the fingerprint, and the 3 hardtails staring us down.
Yeah, a lot of options here. And we're actually going to try to lose some heat. I think Malo trying to play a little differently. Oh boy, we break idle again, and we're going to go for this fingerprint. We're going to try to get 2 done in the last minute, I guess.
Yeah, it's going to be the print. I'm a little bit worried about this because he's going to have to go right back to the statue after the fact, but that might be enough depending on what Verdruss is thinking, because Verdruss has not been very on top. Well, neither of the players have been very on top of the fingerprints so far. Back we go to the last statue. Here's the second print. No reaction from Verdruss as of yet. Leaning to try to get a look at the list. There's the print done, and I think this is going to be a game win for Malo.
Yeah, hard to track prints, but I would think 2 in the last minute might make it a little bit easier. But no, Malo pulls their fullback off the gas a little bit this game, maybe learned from that shot in the Redwoods game, and says, no, I've got 2 minutes left. Instead of doing another hardtail, instead of dumping this book, why don't I just find 2 prints instead? And it works.
Yeah, the fingerprints are really the bane of these snipers right now.
Yeah. Although it does depend on what that shot was for. We still don't know. It could have just been talking during BB. It could have been onto the prints. Hard to know, especially because that blue book print was cooking for a long time. So I'd be very impressed if they caught that. But Hard to say either way. That's a nice little possible adjustment from Malo. That's a really good sign. What I want to see from new players is not just skills, which they can pick up really quickly. What I want to see is how do they adjust to their opponent and to the set as it goes on. And if Malo indeed was learning from the shot on Redwoods and slowing up a little bit on Library as a result, that's a very encouraging sign.
All right, it's time for Verdruss to start playing things on the spy side. Malo on the sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I think reacting to your opponent and learning from your own mistakes and all that, learning from what they get you for and what they don't, it's the #1 skill you want to have as a SpyParty player.
To see that bug so bad. We're going back for it, and he does hit it. It's right on camera too. But I don't think Malo was particularly suspicious of it. He was highlighting the ambassador while it was happening. I think his mind was on the administrative work.
He was tagging the ambassador, and so was the spy. They both had their sights set on them at the same time.
First flirt comes off for 26%. That's a big start for Verdruss.
Yeah, and these spies have actually been very aggressive and playing like very high-level spies in the sense that they're trying to get bug done early, before any highlights, before any early suspicion, so that the sniper spends the rest of the game watching a mission that's already done.
The bugs have been good, too.
Yeah. Yeah, and what we're seeing now is they don't actually necessarily need the cover of the trees. Obviously, the previous one was a little obvious, but off screen. This one was just good because it was on screen, and they still got away with it.
Verdruss stepping away with a yellow book. We'll see what happens with this. Looks like we're stepping back over for the second flirt, though. There we go. Green flirt brings up to 77%, so it's always nice to see that after you get a little bit of a distance on the first white. It means you can count on a 3 flirt.
Yep, brings us up to 77, but brings us down to a 3 flirt instead of the dreaded 4 flirt, which you'll see on Library pretty often.
Still have that yellow book in hand, though, so we could very easily drop that away somewhere in blue or green for a quick mission completion. Hard to say if Malo is on this or not, but it looks like Verdruss might just be hanging out here waiting for the timer to count down for that next flirt. No, he does step away with it.
That's smart, because we're next to the ambassador again. We're going to get seen with them after the bug is done. You don't want that. Thankfully, they were off screen almost the entire time, so they're probably not going to be suspected.
It is going to be green bookcase. Absolutely no reaction from Malo once more. That's 2 missions down and most of a flirt.
Most of a flirt, and is it going to be in specs is the question. Do we want to walk by the Amba again? Oh dear, we do.
It's a big bug path, and now we're right in on top of him. This could very easily be
and we're highlit.
Credited bug. The contact comes off now as well.
That is really rough. We had gotten away with that bug, I think, almost entirely, if not entirely, and now we're suspected for it heavily.
There's the flirt getting done, but at what cost? We just gained a lot of suspicion there. 1 more mission to go. It could be the inspects, and because we've just got the soft tail to go, that might be enough, especially if he gets on it early before the timer really starts ticking down.
Oh, and that's a full conversation with the real 2 if the snipers noticed it. This is really rough. We were seen talking too.
It's side statues.
Swap rather than inspect?
Statues? It might be a swap. He's going for the inspects, though, so I'm assuming he's just going to go statue to statue here.
It's looking like it now.
Well, there's the first one down, minute and
Sniper
15.
zooming. Sniper zooming. The statue's still not visible. The cast members in front. They're chasing the spy with their laser. They're very worried about this character now.
This is bad. I think this is.
Oh no.
I think this might be lost for Verdruss. This is a scary, scary situation.
That laser crawling across the venue with the spy pixel by pixel is terrifying.
Back into statues. Immediately the shot goes off. Malo is on top of things. I honestly think Verdruss gave that game away when he went back in with the ambassador.
Totally agree. And I find it that it's interesting that changes with skill level. At a high level, that makes you less suspicious in a sense, because you're going to be confident that the sniper's going to know you didn't bug. And what spy would take a crazy bug path without actually bugging, or when they already have the bug, right? So it actually can play to your advantage. But at this level, at most levels, frankly, I don't think so, especially because it was so behind that conversation that it was going to be hard for the sniper to be confident a bug didn't happen anyway. So it's all downside. I think that went from a very high probability of a spy win to a spy shot with that one decision.
Yeah.
When I can do split screen on a library game, you know bad things are about to happen.
Yep.
Absolutely. And now it's Mallow on the spy side of things after getting a big win as sniper. Verdruss now behind the rifle in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Sometimes as a sniper, you shoot someone for something like that, and then you check the replay and realize you missed the real one entirely and kind of got lucky in a sense, and you just got to chuckle to yourself and say, well, let's not end up in that position again, because it could have gone the other way so easily.
Absolutely. Right through the middle of the conversation. You're not supposed to do that, but the sniper didn't see it, so it's fine.
Well, if you're going to do it, what you're supposed to do is also bug, because if they don't see the one, they're probably not going to see the other.
That is true. 34% off the first flirt. Going for the early fingerprint as well off of this briefcase.
Yeah, before the ambo was even really out of there, we're just barreling ahead here.
Yeah. The spy train ain't got no brakes with Mallow in the spy shoes. Back over we go, looking for the second flirt, I can only imagine. There it is indeed.
They're on team do stuff. There's no doubt about it. Do all the stuff. Although most of the stuff seems to be Prince.
There's the bug coming on the way back. That was actually on camera, but Verdruss has his mind on other things. So the bug is done. 85% on the flirt and 1 print in pocket. Doesn't want to go for the contact as of yet. It looks like we're going back again to finish up the flirt.
And we're low lit.
And we're low lit too. Good God.
Yeah, I think the problem is that there's way more on any library view than the sniper can actually look at. Their eyes can be one way. And in fact, the fact that they moved to the right after that bug took, your eyes tend to lead. When you're looking to the right, when you're about to move to the right, your eyes go to the edge of the screen to see what comes into view as soon as possible. So when something happens to the far left, right before the sniper snaps to the far right, their eyes might have moved on before their actual camera did.
The only non-cast member low-lit right now is the spy. How did this happen?
I think maybe we were just trying to low-light all the people with arrows over their heads, even though we couldn't see this one. So one more, you get the seduction target, and you're good. Then it's bingo.
I wonder if it was a mistake. The briefcase has been fingerprinted once again, so that's the 3rd print done. Blue book in hand.
Oh no.
I don't think there's any stopping Mallow at this point.
I'm just seeing the replay. That low light was clearly a mistake because it happened while they were whipping across the spy. You can't even see the low light happen. You can't even see it. It's totally invisible from the sniper side. They just whip over and click by accident, and they happen to land not just on a person, which is weird enough, but on the spy. That is absolutely brutal.
No, that's so sad.
I don't even know how that can happen. I really don't. That's awful.
After this game is done, we're gonna have to watch that back in full slow-mo.
Yes, we are. And we'll still barely see it in slow-mo. My God. Well, now, the nice thing is if you're Mallow, we've seen nothing but progress anyway, so the odds that they're not going to take advantage of this are pretty low. The only way they lose is on something like a white purloin, and it looks like they're just going to dump this book, and if they go into inspects after that, that might be enough.
Yeah, still holding on to the book. There's no way this is going down in blue again. Indeed, we step into the yellow bookcase. There is the putback. Because of that laser movement, Mallow might think he's highlight at this point. That looked like a highlight.
Yeah, even if you had perfect laser information with no latency, he'd still have no idea he was low lit. We didn't know it right away, and it took us a little while to figure it out, too.
In conversation with the seduction target once more for absolutely no reason. We've already got the flirt done. 45 seconds left to play, 1 mission to go. It's probably going to be the inspects. But if that's the case, why are we stepping all the way across to the other end of the venue? No, It's going to be contact. I forgot contact was still available.
A lot has happened in the interim, it's fair.
There's the flirt coming off. There's the, contact coming off. There's the mission win countdown.
Off come all the intentional lowlights now. but it's too late. That is insane. I can't wait to see this again. This is definitely a speed running record for low light. It's not visible. It's basically like sleight of hand, but with SpyParty low lights. You don't see it, even though you know it's there.
Oh man.
I can't believe how fast this is. They're even partially obscured by the pillar. It would be so easy to miss them. It's like a cloud. Look at this. It looks like a cloud went over the spy and just cast them in shade all of a sudden. Just boom, boom. Look at that.
How did it happen? I don't understand.
It's kind of like they held down the low light key and did that thing on a piano where you just press all the keys, right? And just like, oh, this whole area just low lit. But no, it was just the one. By the way, Wheels is going right by at the same time. Doesn't get low lit. Right underneath the queen as it happens. Doesn't get low lit. I can't believe anyone got clicked, let alone the spy, let alone a spy that we know is not going to time out afterwards. That is horrendously unfortunate. Verdruss was already falling behind, and now they're in a real tough position.
It's 5-2, not the sort of position you want to be in, but Verdruss on the spy side with a chance to start clawing this back. It's not looking good. It's a mountain to climb, but mountains are indeed climbable. Starting from the spy side of library in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
That's a failed bug.
I mean, you love to see the bug attempts, but...
Yep. So Verdruss is just thinking, okay, so now I get low lit by accident, right? Like, come on, a little bit of luck. Help me out here.
That way. Well, you asked for a little bit of luck. That luck comes in the form of Mallow literally not moving at all while we take the microfilm out of the blue bookcase.
Well, there was someone at statues, a second person approached, and the AMBA and the guest list were all on the right side of the venue. So I'm actually going to defend Mallow camping out over on that side a little bit. But I will say that both snipers are staring at statue visitors too long, especially early in the game. Even if it's a swap, guys, they can't finish, right? This is something you see about experienced snipers. They'll note the swap, but they'll realize that early in the game, they don't have to stop. Yeah, they don't have to stop and watch it because they'll still have plenty of time to react to it if it's early.
Yeah, I don't think it was a mistake from Mallow at all. It was just luck of the party. Sometimes you get the AI where you need them, but the green time ad has indeed come off, and Verdruss decides to hide at the time ad window.
Yeah, this is kind of like hanging around the ambassador after you bugged already. Although, you do find new players sometimes who don't even know about that window. I'm going to say these two do, but you can't take anything for granted. Whoop, that's a 360.
Yep. Good thing we're on library. Those things are a lot more difficult to spot.
I mean, in the last game, Verdruss did the no-scope low light, and now they do the 360, so fair.
That is true. Verdruss, though, really taking his time in this game, has pulled out the blue microfilm and hasn't done a thing since. Not even gone for any sort of flirt shenaniganry.
We're trying. We're literally bumping into our seduction target, which, believe it or not, they don't find seductive. Turns out you need to talk to them first.
Hasn't happened yet. Still a minute and 30 to play. Still 3 minutes and 30 to play, though, so...
We do have a little more time than we started with, and I gotta imagine Verdruss willing to do that again if they need to. Green would go a long way here, though.
Yep, this is going to be the first flirt of the game. It's been quite a while. And, oh no, it's just a couple pixels off. 48% is where we stand on the flirt after the first.
Yeah, and Duke put himself between the two characters and immediately started jabbering. We're going to call that talk blocking.
I love it. Into green bookcase we go, looking to finish up this microfilm. Whether or not we can do it right away, or we're going to have to wait a little bit to get a good position for it, time will tell.
And I think now would be a good time to look at time adding again if you think you're going to need it. I don't think it would be very suspicious right now. There's a lot of highlights. There's a lot of movement in the party still. I think you could get away with another one right here.
Just puts the book back. Doesn't take the microfilm, doesn't take the book. Back into conversation we go.
Oh!
The second green. It's 99% on the flirt. You hate to see it.
Easy now. It's not over yet. I will say, though, that you don't need to be right next to them because you're going to 3-flirt anyway. If you'd gone between Salmon and the suspected double agent, oh boy, you would have been behind the pillar too, which is where we are now. We're requesting a drink. This is going to be a purloin behind the pillar.
Purloin behind the pillar is absolutely the plan here. Is a little bit visible. Not the best positioning.
No, and we're being watched, and the waiter,
Doesn't
wow,
take it.
thought better of it based on laser movement, maybe? No, asks again!
Rejects the drink and then takes the purloin. Are you kidding me? What's this play?
Was that deliberate? Are they hoping the sniper looks away when it's rejected? It'll still look like a green, though.
That's exactly what happened.
And BB comes off to distract, and now Malo is zooming around and looking. Who could it be? Could it be Duke, the one who blocked us earlier?
And that's where the shot goes. What a play from Malo. Now picks himself 1 point in the SCL standings and a good 4 match points to play after that.
That was Verdruss, so he actually stays alive. It's going to be 5-3 now. And I just love that Verdruss says, you're going to get between me and my seduction target? I've got something for you. I've got a little purloin trick. You're going to take the bullet instead.
Yeah, I done misread the scoreboard. That was a play and a half.
Wow. I mean, at that point, you're putting a lot of trust in the sniper to notice the reject and look away. Because if they just kind of stare, and we've seen these snipers just stare at these things, sell out on one hardtail, stare at the amba, stare at the statue, stare at the bar. And in this case, if they'd stared at the tray, I don't think that would have worked. But they did, and it did, and it's 5-3 now going into terrace of all places.
Verdruss, that was where it had to start clawing this back. And now it's happening. Into terrace we go. Malo on the spy, Verdruss on the sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I'd love to see spies try to get away with fingerprint as easily on terrace now. Swap off, by the way. Not that it is much of a surprise.
Opening things up with that quick green flirt for 51%. We've seen a lot of green flirts this match.
Yeah, Malo probably would have rather had a green BB on that Redwoods game instead of the 2 flirts, but they are hitting a surprising number of action tests, and they're being very aggressive, and there it is. Like I was saying, walked away on Redwoods and then came right back. They weren't punished for it, at least not until later, for something else maybe, and I think they're just going to do the same thing.
Yeah, very aggressive flirting indeed. That's not the seduction target, that's the double agent. It looks like we're trying to flirt the double agent.
Yep, and we're trying to go for the briefcase, and we do not cancel in time. You're supposed to leave immediately when they beat you to it. I don't think you're going to be in trouble, though, and we go right next to the seduction target anyway.
Second flirt comes off up to 85%, but yeah, that briefcase situation was not a good one. Double agent, though, steps into our conversation, so we might be able to make something of this once these yahoos stop screwing around with the briefcase and get in conversation, guys. Seduction target steps away. Well, stepping across for a flirt once more. That was probably a really bad flirt, but it didn't matter even a little bit. Even if he didn't hit the green, it wouldn't have mattered because he was already up at 85%. Flirt is done. 2 minutes to play, and into the bar we go.
We want these prints so much.
It's going to be a difficult print.
I'm not sure. I think the ambassador just left, but I'm not sure if someone else...
Oh, yeah, he was able to get the print clean.
Yep, really wants these prints, clearly thinking, I got away with them. I think I got shot for something else in that Redwoods game, I think is what they're saying.
I think that might well be true. There's the contact coming off. One low light available, but so is the shot. Verdruss coming back with a vengeance. Only 1 game down now.
At this point, I wonder, and Malo has to start thinking about this, are they noticing all the zooming around? They might be noticing idle breaks, animation breaks. That's a little harder to imagine from an opponent in challenging. But if they don't notice animation breaks, they might just notice the activity, the zooming, especially with a fast character like that. In a lot of games, if you can't do anything else, if you don't watch mission sites at all, if you just look at who is moving the most, there's a disproportionate chance it's the spy. And if Verdruss is onto that, and it's not even about the animations or anything like that, then Malo might have to really switch up their spy game.
Man, I used to do that stuff all the time. I would highlight people just because I was seeing them a lot.
Yep. That's right. No, you don't want to be seen. Out of sight, out of mind. But in this case, Malo, again, even if they were waiting on the idols, even if they're waiting on the animations, they're just all over the place. They're just doing so much. And sometimes that's enough.
And from a pretty big deficit, Verdruss on the spy side now has a chance to tie this thing up in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And I mentioned adjustments earlier, that's what matters. We saw Malo look like they might have adjusted a little bit from the Redwoods loss to the Library win. And I think now they're going to have to do it again.
Great flirt positioning to start the game. Hits a nice green for 51% just before the seduction target steps away. You love to see that sort of stuff as the spy.
Yeah, you absolutely do.
An easy flirt cooldown that takes very little time at all. The double agent is over there as well. Wow, this seduction target does not want to stand still.
Yeah. No, it's going well, though. I mean, they have a lot in common. They're probably just talking about how hard it is to walk quickly in those dresses. They are two of the slower characters.
That is very true. Double agent steps away as well to join our little conversation, which is not so little anymore. Lots and lots of people here, but Verdruss wants that flirt. Haircut comes, not able to hit the green. It's 85%.
That's a big one right there. The trajectory of the entire game changes whether that's white or green.
Plenty of time still on the clock. 2 minutes and 15 seconds. We only need 3 missions total. Everyone's deciding to come over and say hi to us over in the other conversation now.
There are not many opportunities right now. The double agent's out. There are no prints that I can see right now, at least. And the ambassador is not in a buggable position. I think we're just going to wait. And because there are no good opportunities, this is the right decision to just wait and timer flirt.
Yeah, just hanging out. There's the timer flirt cooldown expiration. There's the flirt getting finished up. So that's 1 mission complete. Unfortunately, we still have to wait to see where our options are. Could go for the briefcase. I'm not sure if we'd be a little too close, but...
I think we're okay, but we're not going to win any races. Bling's going to beat us there if we're going for it. Oh,
just
wow!
Barely won the race. Went for the pickup a little bit too quick.
Yep.
That let her grab the briefcase in time. That's 1 print in pocket. With a minute left to play, back in the conversation we go. Double agent is not being kind, but it doesn't matter. Malo takes the shot, and we're tied at 5.
Wow, absolutely huge. Queen, I mean, just as simple as had been to bar, had been to statues. She was at that same set of statues, though, at the beginning of the game. But maybe you just see a statue highlight. I mentioned this before. There's statue highlights, and then there's done with inspect, noting that specifically. In this case, Queen went to those statues twice, but was next to the Yamba earlier the first time, too. So maybe suspected the bug, which is why a shot comes off with no contact.
And now we're tied. It's 5-5. 2 games left. They're going to be played on Courtyard, and each of these games is worth a point in the SCL standings. Starting things off with Malo on the spy and Verdruss on the sniper with all the momentum behind him in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Malo was aggressive on Redwoods and got shot. Played a little more cautiously on Library and won. Then got aggressive again and got shot again. Can they learn the lesson one more time? Can they play a nice, clean, measured game and win a point here?
How wide he went around the ambassador. Look how not bugging this is, Verdruss.
Yep, I like it. I mean, leaving aside the individual execution, I like the intentionality of that play. It shows that they're thinking about this now. They're not just thinking, where's my next mission? They're thinking, what is the sniper looking at? What's the sniper going to think when I do things? That is a really good sign.
No progress as of yet, though. Now chasing down the seduction target. Might not
risky.
be able to get this off. It does just barely come off. 34% on the first flirt. That was
a real risk. Yeah, that's not normally going to be. They're not normally going to hang out there long enough.
Yeah, and it was milliseconds, the difference between the flirt coming off and the leave happening. Back in the conversation with him, though, this one's a heck of a lot safer. And now it's 68% after, I believe, the first double white flirt in the match.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty good flirt total. Not as nice as it could be, but close. And one more will do it. We're going to break animation to leave again and charge right through. We're back to the aggressive fingerprints, Tobo.
Yeah, we're back to the aggressive everything. Malo is moving and moving a lot. One print in the books. There's the briefcase handoff.
If I'm Malo, I want to time something to the list being down because Verdruss has been looking at that fairly often. But they did seem very interested in that briefcase too, so I'm a little worried that they're already onto them.
Flirt is done at this point, but we're behind the curve. Minute and 10 left to play and haven't been to the statues yet, haven't got the contact yet. In conversation with the double agent now, but it's not a very packed one. Now it's starting to fill up a little bit, but we might not have a choice anymore. I think we just have to take this.
I think so.
50 seconds left to play.
Banana bread.
There's the contact. It is a green test, so that's nice to see.
Knocks out 2 lowlights too, but there are still 2 left, and we're not one of them.
Into the statues. No, decides not to. Time is running down very quickly. All the way around to the other side into statues again we go. Under 30 seconds.
We did a full lap to go back in there, and it's going to have to be inspect swap, I think, if they're not going to go immediately to windows or print after this.
There's the green swap. I'm worried about this. We'll see what happens. Green swap is more powerful down at this level than it is at the higher one, so this could work out, but it's going to be a long overtime.
Who's going to pick it up? It's going to be Green Dress.
Gonna be Green Dress. Here's the take.
Not watching the fade.
Pending. It hung at 0. It hung at 0 for a moment. He didn't need to see the fade. The shot comes off. And Verdruss with 5, I believe 4 or 5 in a row, gets himself up to 6. It's advantage Verdruss all of a sudden.
Wow. Yeah, no, definitely at least 4, because it was 5-2 on that library game where Duke got shot. That is, what a turnaround, and what a shot. Look at how quick this is on the replay. Look at the snap. Once the clock hangs, they're all over it. They didn't even need to think about it. They didn't need to parse it out, suss it out, anything. Gears didn't need to turn. It was just pure reflex, shot them easily.
Yeah, that was some beautiful stuff. Verdruss Malo tried to get away, but it's very hard to outrun that laser. But just the fact that it hung at 0 for half a second.
Yes, huge difference from the sniper's perspective. I think based on their reaction, they would have had them anyway. I think they were guarding it. They were ready for it, but it would have made their decision at least a little bit tougher if it had happened just a second sooner.
And now Verdruss with the 1 point, looking for one more from the spy side. Malo on the sniper with 1 game left to play. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And now you're thinking, really? If you're Malo, you're thinking, really? Geez, now I need this just to secure a point. That is rough. But their sniper has looked really good. The spy's been a little aggressive, and eventually Verdruss caught on. But now, you still get to snipe on courtyard to salvage a point, so still in a decent position.
If there's any venue you want to do it on, it's probably courtyard, as we step into conversation with the seduction target for 51% on the first flirt.
Yeah, big green there. And we could take a fake or something here, and it would be pretty darn powerful. There are some full conversations.
Yeah,
one person
absolutely. There's the bug on the way through, and it wasn't seen. That might be the game.
It might be. It's not a tree, but it is a statue with 4 bushes on it, so close enough arbory-wise. I will say, though, that path walking away from the Amba, just a little visible as they rotated, but come on, that way more experienced snipers will still barely credit that sometimes. They also protect the Amba a little better in the first place, but I think that's just going to be totally clean, and as long as we avoid a weird late statue visit or something like that, we're going to be just fine.
caught Mallow
red.
on the wrong side. There's the contact coming off. The contact is done. The bug is done. The flirt is done. We still have 2 minutes left to play, and all it takes is a visit to the statues.
Do it right now. And if they shoot, if they were actually suspicious of the bug, good for them.
The longer we delay this, the more suspicious it gets.
I agree completely. Sometimes if they feel lost,
Here we go.
there it is.
There's the drink. It's a highlight. Usually when you see a highlight, it means there's no shot coming.
It is a gulp too, by the way. We took that drink and then gulped it. But it does mean we're going to be standing at statues longer. It might be mistaken for a 3 cycle or something like that.
It was a second sip. So it's not a big gulp, but there's no way in hell Mallow was onto that. The bug was just too good, catching Mallow out of position, and that's Verdruss picking up 2 after being down by 3 games.
5 straight wins to close it off, and almost all of them felt close, except for maybe this last one where the bug was clean. And not just that. Here's the thing. You see that at certain levels, you think, okay, if they didn't catch it, this game is almost certainly over. At this level, that's not the case, though, because the spy can still make the wrong choice. They can still be nervous. They cannot have any sense of whether or not they're suspicious. So maybe they do the counterintuitive thing and they swap, or they purloin, or they, I don't know, let's say go for 2 fingerprints late, which we've been seeing over and over again. So it was not a given that they were going to do the safe thing, and it's also not a given that they were going to have the foresight to go early before the last minute of the game, too. That would have been a very understandable mistake. I think if they went to statues even earlier, it's even better. But it was not a given that they were going to make the safe, smart choices there, but they did. And that's why it ended up being such a clean win. They could have made that closer, but instead they pressed their advantage and came away with an outright victory.
All right, and that was a crazy set. And I did not see that ending coming. I'm glad. Once again, chose a close set.
Oh yeah,
as is the kind of the standard right now, but still, that was a very impressive comeback. Does not happen too often.
We'll throw some lopsided ones in there just to keep you guys on your toes.
Yes.
But most of them will be pretty competitive, and this one certainly was. And I still love
it
watching.
It looked like it was going to be a lopsided one from the start.
Oh yeah, we head faked you guys. Yeah, totally.
Yes.
What I like though,
well.
what I love about these newer player casts though is that they're always exciting. They're exciting because sometimes they surprise you with what they're capable of, but also because you don't know if they're going to do the thing I just mentioned. You don't know if they're going to do the safe, quote unquote, boring thing to press their advantage. Sometimes they just take more risks, and some of the snipers watch for those anyway. There's just less of a script for these games, and it makes them very, very interesting.